Once I changed how I was handling my hair, bang, started seeing length straight away. And now I'm nearly at mid back length. In the past, I could never ever seem to get my hair past shoulder length. It would literally stop here and done. But yay, I think it probably took me about 2 to 3 years, but I managed it. So let's talk about some of the things that I stopped doing so that you can get past your plateau length as well. Okay, but first, what exactly do I mean by plateau? Well, it just simply means it seems as though your hair has stopped growing. And it's like, no matter how many times you cut your hair to then grow it back, it gets to that same level. For me, it was shoulder length, it was about here. It seems as though it gets to that length and then it just stops growing, but actually that's not true. And that plateau length is different for everybody. So mine was collarbone length. I have heard for some people it's like neck or kind of just, below the ear. For other people, it can be brushed at length or past brushed at length. It's different for everybody. But certainly for me, that was collarbone length, or I call it shoulder length. And so I'm going to ask you to do something on the back of this video. I'm going to ask you to comment down below and let me know what is your plateau stage or your plateau length. Because here's the thing, once you watch this video and you've understood some things that maybe it could be beneficial for you to stop doing, if you put this video into practice, if you stop doing these things and you do that for say a year, I'm going to ask you to come back to this very video in a year's time and reply to your own comments and let us know the length that your hair has got to now, because I am so sure that once you stop doing these things, you are going to see your hair grow past its plateau length. Okay, so let's find out some of the things that I stopped doing. This first one is so key. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was doing this. The first one is I had to stop allowing my hair to get dry. I had to stop doing that. And you can see what I'm doing right now. I just applied some of this, which is aloe vera juice mixed with a bit of water with glycerin, essential oils. And now I'm applying a butter, but it's a leave-in butter as well. There's liquid in there. So this is one of the ways that I had to stop allowing my hair to get dry, because here is the thing. We think that our hair stops growing when it gets to a certain length, but that is not the case. What is the case is that our hair starts breaking off at a quicker rate than it's growing. So it's still growing from your scalp, but because of our hair care practices, we're actually causing it to break off. And if you think about it, if my hair is growing from here, it's growing from the root, but then this bit is breaking off, what's going to happen? It's going to look as though it's not growing, even though it actually is. So one of the key things I had to stop doing was stop letting my hair get dry. And how I did that is, of course, after washing it, I would make sure it was moisturized and hydrated well. But also, in addition to that, before my hair has a chance to get dry, like during the week, for example, I would moisturize it before. So instead of waiting until it is dry and then moisturizing it, no, it's too late by then. It's not too late, don't get me wrong, but it's just better to recognize when is it going to get dry and re-moisturize it like a day or two before that. Also, to prevent my hair from drying out, we might think that, okay, if I just add a bit of liquid in, some people just spray their hair with water every day and that's it. Boo, that's not gonna do it. I don't really think we should have to be spraying our hair every day. We shouldn't be afraid of a bit of water, but I don't think we should need to spray our hair every day, because what we need to do is whatever water or liquid it is that we are spraying on our hair, we have to ensure that that moisture is sealed in. We gotta seal it in, all right? Another way that I stopped letting my hair get dry is I stopped utilizing gels too often. Gels, they often have alcohol content in there, which is one of the ingredients that contributes to our hair drying out so quickly, especially when we're lathering on gel all over our hair. It's just a bit too much for it and it results in it drying out. So I stopped doing that. I also stopped applying heat regularly. Now, back in the day, my hair was relaxed, and on top of the relaxer, I would also straighten it. My hair was experiencing a lot in terms of heat. And also at that time, I didn't know anything about heat protectant. I wasn't using heat protectant. I was just sticking the hair straightener on my hair, you know? So that is the first thing, and probably one of the main things that I had to stop doing. I stopped letting my hair get dry. The next one is kind of linked to that, and it is brushing or combing my hair whilst it is dry. And when I say dry, I don't mean dry as opposed to wet. I mean dry as in there's no moisture in the hair strands at all. I personally think that is breakage central. So honestly, if I do use a comb and brush, I only use a comb and brush on wash day, which is like right now. Like, I've just washed my hair and I'm retwisting it. So this now, actually at this point right now, is when I would probably go in with a brush. So once I have finger detangled and once I know my hair is pliable, it's hydrated, it's got moisture in there, and it's been finger detangled, now I can go in with a detangling brush. I also try not to overdo it. That's it. Done. The purpose of me using a brush or comb is simply to get shed hairs out. I'm not using a brush or comb just for the aesthetics of it, or to flatten my hair or whatever. Not in this instance. I'm simply using the brush just to get shed hair out of my hair. And I remember, again, when I had relaxed hair, that sometimes I would comb or brush my hair and I would see, short pieces of hair like on my top or on my bed or in the comb or whatever it is. And at the time, I didn't realize that was breakage. When you're seeing short hairs, that's not shedding. Shedded hairs will always shed from the root. And so if you're seeing really short hairs, that tells you something's wrong. You know what? I don't think I put any grease on this bit. I think I forgot. So as a prime example, there's one or two, well, there's more than one or two, but there are a few little short strands of hair on my top now. You probably won't be able to see it on the video, but that is breakage. However, on my left hand side here is shed hair. So this is okay, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but can you see this is a full strand? Let me do it against my top. This is a full strand of hair here. It's actually a bit longer than that, but yeah, that has come out of the root. Also, sometimes what you can check to ensure that you're not dealing with breakage and it's just shed hair is you can look at the root of the hair that's come out, and you should be able to see a little bulb at the top, where it's come out of your scalp. If you don't see that, if you just see a clean break, then that was breakage. Now, it's probably impossible to do our hair and never have any breakage whatsoever. So don't be alarmed. Obviously, you see a few bits of breakage here and there, but you don't want to have, massive clumps of broken hair. You don't want to be seeing that. So sometimes, in pursuit of us wanting, hairstyles to look amazing, we can sometimes compromise on this particular area, and we end up choosing like a nice aesthetic look over prioritizing the actual health of our hair. And what I'm referring to here is what I stopped doing in order to grow my hair past my shoulder length plateau was I stopped wearing tight and high tension hairstyles. So for me, that meant things like tight buns or tight braids, or even slicking my edges back into like a tight puff, something like that. Because again, all of that tension that we put on our hair, it can result in us, pulling it so tight that it just breaks off. The fourth thing that I stopped doing in order to grow my hair past my shoulders was I stopped leaving my ends out. Now, think of it this way, the ends here, these bits, this is the oldest part of my hair. And so if it's the oldest, I gotta treat it with some respect, man. I gotta put some respect on that. You know what I'm saying? And so if I just leave my ends out, then again, what happens is they just get dry. They get exposed to all the elements, the cold, too much heat, too much sun or whatever it is. They rub on my clothes like this, and it really is just a disaster. So instead, two of the key things that I do, one of them is I always tuck my ends away. I would wear my hair similar to this. I would wear my hair in a bun, and these ends, you see them? These ends would be tucked in. So they're never just out and exposed, they're always tucked in. Another really key thing that I do with the ends of my hair is I apply flaxseed gel to them. And I think this for me has been a game changer. So I'm going to link a video above about the flaxseed gel, and you'll be able to see how I do that, how I make it, and just also how I really believe that is one of the massive key things that have really helped me to retain length. And just to add, it's the same thing that Indigenous Strands does as well. So if she does it and she is retaining length like nobody's business, best believe I'm gonna try that. And I tried it and I love it and I stick by it. So remember that comment that you just wrote about your plateau length and how when you come back in a year's time, it's gonna have surpassed that. One of the ways that you're gonna do that is by no longer leaving your ends out and letting them get dry. You're gonna tuck them babies in and you're gonna seal them up nice. Another thing that I stopped doing is styling my hair too regularly. I used to style my hair every single day. Can you believe that? Every single day I would put a new style in my hair. What was I thinking? Who's got time for that? So now what I do instead is I protective style, like exactly what you see me doing now. I put my hair in either twists or plaits, and I can usually leave it in that style for at least a week, but I tend to leave my hair in that style for 2 weeks, potentially even 3. But I think ideally, if you're protective styling, you want something that's going to last you at least a week, I'd say. Okay, so there's a few more things to share about what I stopped doing. But if you're going to implement some of these so far, or should I say, if you're going to stop doing these things so far that you've heard in this video, then do click that like button to let me know that this is helping you. And whilst you're there, the subscribe button isn't far. So why not come on in and join the community? Oh, that looks so good. Oh my gosh. Woo! Look at that for a curl pattern. Whoa, I'm sorry. These are popping. Sheesh kebab. Oh my gosh. Anyway, sorry. I don't have time to be doing this. I need to literally get my hair done. I think I said I wanted this done in an hour and a half. It's now been an hour and 20 minutes and I still have a good, 10 twists left to go? Don't think I'm going to make it, to be honest. This one seems obvious, but I think it is overlooked by many people. And that is what I stopped doing was not washing my hair regularly or having a routine. When my hair was relaxed, I think I'm trying to remember if I used to wash it in between applying a new relaxer. I can't remember if I did, but then that means if I did, I probably did it every maybe 4 weeks or so. And then I probably applied a new relaxer around about every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. But it definitely wasn't a regular routine. It was kind of as and when I felt like my roots were coming in again, then I would relax it and obviously rewash it and stuff. But our hair absolutely needs to be clarified because as you can see, I put oils and butters on my hair, and these are products that are supposed to lock moisture in. And sometimes because they're so thick, they can prevent further moisture from getting in as well. So if I don't clarify or reset my hair when I'm washing it, then all I'm doing is just piling product on top of product, and it's not actually getting into my hair strand, which it needs to. Something else that I stopped doing was going to sleep or lying down without my head covered, without a headscarf on. Usually a silk or satin headscarf as well. I just didn't really think about the effects of it, and the fact that when we lie down on something or when we put our head on something, whenever our hair rubs on anything, it causes friction, and friction can cause breakage when it comes to our hair strands because they're so fragile. And then another thing that I stopped doing, which I believe has really helped me to get past shoulder length, is the fact that I stopped letting my hair dry in its natural state. And actually, I stopped wearing my hair in its natural state. Now, if I'm honest, this isn't something that I used to do that often. It's not that often that I would wear my hair in an afro. I think there was only one stage of life where I had cut my hair and I was beginning to grow it back, and it was just at that teeny weeny afro stage where there's not much you can do with it. I'm sorry. Once again, I've ended up having an issue whilst recording, and so there's no more audio left. And I have now had to do a voiceover. So what I was going to say was, when I leave my hair to dry in its natural state, then I always end up with single strand knots. Because our hair is so curly, it just curls up on itself, and it just results in loads and loads of tiny, tiny knots. So I just don't do that anymore. Really, the key thing to take away from this video is probably, if your hair is stuck at a plateau length, it is very likely to be because of breakage. That is the key thing I want you to realize from this video. What you're doing, some of your hair care practices are causing your hair to break off at the same rate, or maybe faster rate, than it's actually growing from its roots. So it's important to stop some of those hair care practices so that you can stop the breakage. And if you can stop the breakage, then what's going to happen? You're going to see length retention. And so now that you've understood what you would need to stop doing in order to get past your shoulder length plateau, or whatever your plateau is, you also need to know what to do instead. And so this video right here, this is my current length retention routine. So feel free to take from it what you want and leave what you don't need.